Hi, aloha. Welcome to the Empowered Empath podcast. My name is Jennifer O'Neill.
And I'm Michelle Schneider, giving you a friendly reminder that if you like today's topic, to please give the video a like and subscribe if you haven't already.
Yes. So today we have a lot of empath topics, and it's not just because the podcast is named Empowered Empath, although that does seem like right along those lines. And also because I am still writing the empath book. I have this whole series that has just turned into this massive series at this point in time, and everybody's like, well, where are they? And there's like 3 books in the series already, so I will be getting those out there. But I have had a lot of clients lately that are learning about being an empath, and they are learning empath sensitivities. And while I think that people are familiar with a lot of sensitivities, actually, this is something you might be better at than I would be because I have so much info on empaths and I view them differently and I talk so much about it in the book. Is what do you think that the common version of empath sensitivities would be?
Well, I think there is the basic of like, oh, I can feel other people's feelings. I think that's normally what I would think of. But
As far as sensitivities go.
yes, I think we're talking about the same thing. But there was a lot
Yeah.
of things recently that we were talking about, and I was like, oh, I did not connect those
Yes.
dots
Well,
of
that's
the
what
time.
we're gonna talk about
Yeah.
today because, as I get into doing the writing, and my goal is to teach people and empaths how to live a healthier life. Because as people who read energy and people who are sensitive to energy, the focus does tend to be on, oh, I can feel read this person's emotions or feel their emotions, which I don't like that one at all, because while that is true with true empaths, I think it can be very deceiving for some people who are also not an empath but think that they might be because of that description, because there are a lot of ways that you can sense somebody's anger and look from their body language and see, the facial expressions, their behaviors, their mannerisms, and they can go, oh yeah, I definitely can feel that they're angry. That's very different. And we did do a podcast on that, empathy versus empath versus empathy. When you're an empath, you actually feel the energy within in your body as if it is your emotion. And that's where it makes it a lot more difficult. But to take it a step further than that, empath sensitivities involve a lot of other things too, because you are constantly feeling the flow of energy. People being a part of that is a small portion of the empath gift. And so I wanted to talk about empath sensitivities because there are some things that people don't realize, like being very sensitive to noise and high social activity kind of run along the same lines, or do run along the same lines as far as energy is concerned, because noise is typically white noise, quote unquote white noise. But also having a large group of people all talking and moving about causes a lot of white noise. Um, Cars cause a lot of white noise. Let's see, TVs cause a lot of white noise. So volumes of noise, people talking, the TV being on, the yard guy being outside, which was my house this morning. Um, all of this adds to the, what would you call it? The noise meter, the energy meter. It all starts to stack. And it will get to a point many times, oftentimes as an empath, where you're just feeling tense. Like you don't even realize it will make you start feeling irritable. It will make you start feeling tense because you have all of this energy that holds a different tone to it. Energy holds frequencies, tones, informations. And so you would want to imagine it kind of like if you had somebody playing a trumpet over here and somebody playing the drums over there and somebody's playing the guitar and somebody's singing opera behind you, that's how it feels energetically, yet they are not singing the same thing or playing the same notes at all. They're not even, some of them might not even be tuned in. They might just sound so off key, it's ridiculous, like some dude just picked up a trumpet. So, that's how it feels energetically. Like there is this unchoreographed orchestra happening around you when you have white noise happening in a chaotic manner. And empaths are constantly looking for flow. You are always looking for flow. You are looking for flow in energy. You are looking for flow in noise and volumes. You are looking for flow within traffic. You are looking for flow within your house. And this is why also things like cluttered areas, and I think that we talked about this on another podcast, that you can feel the chaoticness of the clutter. You can feel that there's no flow.
Yeah.
And this is what also feng shui is based upon, in that culture as well. It's based upon flow, and it's based upon earth's elements, and it's based upon all of these things. So it feels nice, it feels good. I have noticed that a lot of empaths, because they tend to get overwhelmed too, and when they get overwhelmed, they can tend to throw things in a pile and then just move on to the next thing, because they live their life constantly trying to calm the body, right? Calm any energetic flow within your being. And so it is common for an empath to table something and then move to something immediately that makes them feel better, because you are constantly looking to just feel zen, feel flow, feel a nice vibe. That's what you're always striving for. So it might be like, squirrel, let's move over here because that feels way better to me than trying to organize this room. Like, this just feels like I'm sitting in a pool of chaos, but I like this feeling over here. So then you tend to redirect your energy over there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think we were talking about driving the other day too, weren't we? When we were
Yeah,
having
I
this
was like, and I could
conversation.
throw out a ton of examples, which I, realized I was like, oh, I never really thought that they were, because of empath. I thought just being a highly sensitive person. One thing is walking behind people who are super
Mhm.
slow
Oh, yes.
drives me nuts. I
Yes.
can't do it. Like I need
No.
to
I
go.
cannot. I cannot do it. It just, again, you're feeling the break of the energy. So I need energy to be open and moving in front of me at all times. Just I need to feel the flow of the open space. And I have walked many times with people in a mall that will just continue to walk behind somebody that's very slow. Well, that you are now sensing their energy. You are feeling their flow. It feels like a blockage, and empaths are looking to move around blockages all the time. They're looking for flow. That's our natural state. That's what I was saying. That's why my husband loves it when we drive. And he is one of the people that has no problem driving behind a car that's moving slow or a tall vehicle. And I cannot, like, I will keep my mouth shut for as long as I possibly can. I don't know why he just doesn't know this about me at this point in time, but I'll just be like, can you like move around? Like, I mean, that's an open space. Like, just go. And he'll be like, what? We're not in a hurry. And I'm like, I can't. I cannot do it. I can't sit here in this blockage of energy here. And so that is something that will definitely impact a lot of empaths. That's why also when you're in a room full of people, that you again are experiencing a breaking and blockages of a lot of flow of energy. There's a lot of people in a room and it's hard to navigate through them. Then you add the second layer of the noise factor.
Yeah.
And then we have that. There was a time when I was developing quite a bit. everything became so loud to me. Everything. I mean, it was like I was h my I felt like a dog with hearing, like, my hearing level, as far as frequency went, was just I was hearing a lot of high-pitched noises, I was hearing a lot of high frequency noises, and that's another thing that people don't realize is also a sign of, being empathic is you can hear high frequency noises when you are leveling up is what I call it, and that is when, your spiritual body is making an adjustment to a higher frequency. So we will go through life experiencing different leveling up times where we adjust to a higher frequency, then we adjust to a higher frequency, and then we adjust to a higher frequency. And we continue to typically do that throughout our lifetime as long as we're not offering
I
resistance
was
yet.
gonna say, I've experienced something throughout my entire life, and it's usually only in, like, one side of the ear where everything goes quiet. It's as if the volume turns down on
Mhm,
your hearing, and then it's just a high-pitched squeal, like a
mhm.
tone.
Yeah.
What WTF? Like, what is that?
It's very common when your frequency is adjusting. That's what I'm saying. So the other thing that people notice is if you are a very lucid dreamer and or you astro travel a lot, you can and will oftentimes wake up in body before your physical senses can, like, kick in, and you sometimes can't even hear when you first, do that. So it has to do with what you're tuning into. If you're tuning into a spiritual frequency and you're allowing your physical, um, frequency to be take more of a back seat, you can hear a higher spiritual frequency tone. Now, what you'll notice is they come in patterns. So they won't always necessarily be there, or you would probably feel like you were nuts. That being said, you will experience them at times of advancement, at times of learning, at times of something going on where you're leveling up, and then it will be at a more frequent level. You will hear it more often. You will hear it stronger, and then when you're like not advancing as much like you level, so there's when you raise your frequency and your body adjusts to that, everything kind of calms down. And then but when you go into another leveling process, you might hear the high pitched noise again or the thing that you're talking about, and then it'll move again, and then you'll adjust to everything again. And it's not necessarily the only indicator. I'm just saying that is a thing that can happen to you when you level up. It's not that, oh, geez, I've never had that happen. Geez, I must be the same frequency I was when I was born. It's not like that. It's just, it can be an indicator. So, high pitched noises, people talking, just volumes, like surely the amount of people talking, the I want to say not necessarily the tone, but you'll know what I mean. Like if you go out and there's people drinking or something and people start to get louder,
Mhm.
yeah, that type of thing. I can be in a restaurant for so long and then I'm out. Like for instance, we were in Vegas, and we went to this, I think it was called Javier's or something, and it's very loud in there. Like, I can do that for a little while, and while, yes, I can feel the energies of the people, that wasn't even the issue in there. It was the sheer noise volume. I was in there for probably about an hour or something, and I just looked at everybody and was just like, "I gotta go. I cannot be in here any longer." It affect and my whole body was getting tense, and it is the frequency, the volume, the energy behind it. You're reading the entire thing and you are feeling it. And it just, yeah, it's not good. So, and then there will be other things a lot of times.
Like, what about visual stuff? 'Cause,
That's
this
what I
is
was
a
gonna,
big one for me because I'm very sensitive to patterns. Like, patterns will either make me really dizzy, they will make me sick. It could be something like looking at blinds, looking at stripes on somebody's shirt. Have a client where I work and they have a cubicle and there's this like really colorful, fun pattern. Makes me absolutely sick. I had to like
Okay,
put
let
them
me
on the
ask you a question. Think about stripes, right? You're seeing stripes.
yeah.
How does that feel?
I don't know. Is it
Does it feel okay? Does it feel organized? Does it feel um what I can't even think of the words, but like there's a feeling behind it. What does it feel like to you? Does it feel chaotic? Does it feel even? Does it feel, use a term?
different stripes, different feelings? If it's a very thin stripe, like that feels chaotic because
Okay.
there's so many of them.
Okay. So, how about the pattern in the office? The one that you said just drives you nuts.
Mass chaos.
That's not a visual thing. Do you see the difference?
Well,
What did you say? It felt like,
I know that it's like the feeling, but it's like it's a visual pattern. That's what I
yeah,
was
it's
trying
a
to say.
visual fat pattern that spurs a feeling, but
Yes.
the visual is energetic.
Yes.
Everything's energy. The pattern has its own energy to it.
Yes.
That's my point, is the pattern has its own energy to it. So it doesn't matter if it's visual or not visual. That's also why I'm how would I describe that better? Um Patterns have energy. The way that you place items create energy because your brain's going, yes, it's a visual thing, like it's a flat wall. There's no items around it, but it's flat. That's what's so interesting about energy is that would have the same chaotic pattern if you took 87 candles and placed them all in a random order on a table. How would that feel?
Yeah. Chaotic.
Yeah, exactly. Just because we're working with a 3D object, right? Versus a flat wall with colors. That's a really good point that you brought up so people can understand. The energy transfers the same. It doesn't matter if it's 3D. It doesn't matter. Oh, maybe this should be in the regular empath podcast. I don't think I can say that on
We'll
the
let it
podcast.
fly.
It doesn't matter if it's live energy with people and we took 87 people and placed them in a room in your little house. Let's say we put 87 people in there. How would that feel?
Chaotic.
Exactly. But do you see what I'm saying? It tones hold energy and a frequency in a pattern. Paint, colors hold energy, a frequency in a pattern. Wallpaper holds energy, frequency in a pattern. Items placed in a spot holds energy, frequency, and a pattern. Should help to give people more of a frame of reference on why, as an empath, you're going to like certain colors. You're going to like a certain house layout. You're going to like certain wallpapers. You're going to like certain people. You're going to like certain TV shows, even the way that they're visually structured, the way that the story is built, it all holds a frequency. Everything holds a frequency. And when you're an empath, you are aware of all of those things. You're aware of the frequency of everything. Doesn't matter if it's 3D, live energy, or wallpaper on a wall. And so you start to adjust the way that you live your life and the way that you choose things and the way that you choose how to be around or how to choose a paint color or how to remodel a room or how to drive in your car, even how to shop. Everybody shops differently. They go down the aisles differently. I will not go down aisles with a lot of people, not because I want to avoid the people. I don't like the energy of that aisle. I will wait. I will circle back till the energy has moved out the aisle and it just feels like a free flowing pattern. Just it feels flowing, it feels movement. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, it makes me laugh because I do that too, and I was like, I've never really thought of it, but it's like, yeah, if there's somebody there, I'm like, "Nope, I could wait."
Yeah, exactly. I don't like the way it blocks the flow. I don't like the way that it feels. And then if we just want to take it one step further into empath nutsness, things like when you do, then we get into physical items holding energy, which is very more common. So people don't think about the flow as much. That's kind of escapes everybody's mind, and they don't understand why they like to organize everything a certain way, why they like things to be labeled a certain way, because that is an energetic flow. It makes things flow naturally. But then there, we have the parts where, like, even if you go into like a, um, I don't know, the chip aisle. I remember doing this one time with my son Jake, and we went to buy some chips for something, and he pulls out the first bag and grabs the bag behind it, and I started laughing because I will not buy the front bag. It just will not happen. And I said, "Why did you do that?" It's because I know why I do it, and I wanted to hear what he said. And he said, "'Cause I don't like the energy of the first one. There's all these people that pass it." And I'm like, "Okay, that's exactly what I do." I can't. I can feel the energy of the people that have been through the aisle, have handled it and whatnot. And while they've people have handled the ones behind it, they're not in the front of being, all the people moving through the aisles. And it's so funny that my husband, again, he's not an empath like I am. He moves the first bag now, which I seen him do one time. And I said, "Why'd you do that?" And he goes, "Because I know you won't, I know you won't like the first one." And he knows that I can feel it. So it is just really funny. But it just being aware of it, I just feel like kind of understanding what it's like to be an empath and giving yourself a little bit of a break in a way that don't feel bad about these things. Just understand that there's a reasoning behind it. And that helps to bring energetic awareness to your brain, which helps you to compartmentalize, which helps your spiritual body and your physical body work together in a way that you just are bringing more awareness to how much energy is in every single thing that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and how much energy you are reading on a day-to-day basis, and how that knowingly and unknowingly you have altered ways to move within the flow of energy. That's a real thing. But understanding the things that can make you uncomfortable, such as too much chaotic energy around, very loud noises, will allow you to have a better quality of life as an empath, because you are aware of being tense, and then you can remove yourself from that situation without allowing it to affect your day. Most often, a lot of empaths who are unaware will set a mood to their day, like if that happens in the morning, and then they'll kind of be agitated the rest of the day, and they'll be trying to figure out, why am I so irritated? Like, I don't even know, like, it's just a bad day. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
if you can understand why that you got tense, you can release it a lot quicker. You can resolve it and release it. You resolve it and release it. You move, you go to another area, you go outside, you do whatever, you clean the area, you don't go into the office, or you close your eyes when you look at the wallpaper. So that but then, when you leave the office, you don't need to be irritated, because it can just stay there in the weird, chaotic, energy wallpaper, and you don't carry it with you through the rest of your day. And so that's kind of the gold there. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. There's a lot to being an empath. There's a lot to navigating all the empath uh, energies around us, but awareness is just key. That's
Yeah,
just really,
I
and
wanna
not.
know what, everybody else's empath quirks are. Like, maybe
Oh
leave
yeah,
those in the
that's a good one.
comments.
Well, and maybe just give it some thought. I would also think it would be interesting for you to put down, because here's what's going to happen. A lot of people don't realize that noise, white noise, and a lot of chaos and a lot of things going on around them is an empath trait, to be tense from that, because you like flow and you like calm, right? So if you're unsure of if this thing that always irritates you is an empath trait, post that as well. Comment
Yeah.
that as well. And then we can talk back to you and be like, oh, yes. Or no, we don't know what you're talking about. I just, no. So that would be interesting to hear what people think. All right. So I hope you enjoyed today's podcast on, you know, other struggles of being an empath.
Yeah.
And hopefully, maybe by the time this comes out, I'll have my book out. If not, again, I will have my link to my Amazon page so you can go ahead and follow me. And then you should be notified when it comes out because I have, like I said, at this point, it's 3 books. By the time I get book 1 out, there might even be a 4th. Who knows? Right? So hopefully you enjoyed it. And until next time, have the most amazing day. Aloha.
Bye.